This massive YouTuber is defending slavery. Ooh, wow. Give me something new that I do not know. Well, it wasn't a massive YouTuber per se, but rather it was Christians who were also kind of saying the same thing, that they defend slavery. And see, one thing that I will say is that Christians, well, if you're somebody who is a hardcore Christian, you shouldn't have any problem with that. The reason is because the Bible does justify slavery. And so when you see Christians on the internet defending slavery, don't be surprised. Just understand that they get it from the Bible. With that being said, let's see who it is.
Well, guys, I'm not really the kind of guy to tell you that I told you so, but I'm going to. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again talking about my favorite YouTuber who has recently been going on a path of what can only be described as self-destruction. And recently, he turned up the intensity, and I don't know if there's really any coming back from this one. Whistling Diesel, more like, wow, I really love Dubai. Got him. Guys, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even really like talking about this guy because in a weird sort of way, I kind of feel bad for him. But when you have a platform as large as Mr. Diesel does, and you say the kind of crazy shit that Mr. Whistling tends to, somebody has to call you out for it, so we're back. The last time we talked about Cody, aka Whistling Diesel, it was after he released his video talking about his Russian girlfriend, owning the haters, silencing the doubters, and totally proving that she's with him because she loves him by like showing him renting Ferraris and buying her fancy shit. Pretty foolproof argument if you ask me. And I made that video because a few months before all of that Russian girlfriend nonsense, I talked about how I felt like he was kind of like shooting himself in the foot. His entire like online persona had changed.
And also understand that CoffeeZilla also made a video about him promoting some kind of scheme on the internet that also contributed into his whole meltdown that leads up to him now defending slavery, which I'm like, oh God, dude, you were just on a roll, aren't you? But either way, this is what comes with social media. You have to understand that a lot of these people will say the most outlandish stuff on the internet to get attention. Him defending slavery is something that I'm like, I mean, look at Sydney Sweetney. I think I'm saying, how do you say her name? I think that's how you say her name. In order for her to promote her new movie, which, did horrible, well, with the, when they were asking her about, white supremacy and stuff like that, just understand that she didn't really say that it's bad to have a supremacist ideology if you are a specific race of people. That's the gist of that, you know? And she tried doing that to garner attention, and it did. People were talking about it. People were like, oh my God, Sydney Sweeney did not condemn the whole white supremacy stuff about her and her jeans and stuff like that. She was hoping that this would bring more and more eyes to her movie, and it didn't work. And I see the same thing here. Now, I'm not saying this guy's racist, nor am I saying that he's not racist. I don't know what's in his mind at all. But one thing that I do want to say is when somebody is big and they want attention, understand that they will say anything and everything to do what? To garner your attention, because your attention is what puts money in their pocket. It comes at a cost. Some of them don't recover from it, but a lot of them definitely do recover from it. And all he has to do is probably get the attention, turn on the internet, turn on the camera, sit there, be like, oh, I'm sorry for defending this, blah, 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 and then move on and continue on with whatever it is that made him big in the first place. And then boom, everybody forgot about it, and he got what he needed. That's just the reality of things, ladies and gents.
People were starting to not like him all that much, and as many people tend to when they become internet douchebags, he seemed to be incapable of realizing that people were beginning to not like him. Not because he's making a lot of money, or not because he's successful like he thinks is the reason, but it's because he's becoming a giant asshole. Now, clearly, those videos got under Cody's skin a little bit because he made some Instagram story post about me. He's put me in a couple videos. I think he's alluded to me being homeless or something. Really mature, thought out shit. But hopefully this one doesn't bother him too much because yes, we are going back for the three-peats, but this one isn't about anything serious like how many Ferraris he owns or how much his girlfriend loves him. It's just about silly low-stakes stuff like how he thinks slavery is okay. Yeah, guys, I don't know who Cody has in his circle, but clearly they are failing him. Honestly, more so, he's probably failing them.
And my question is he a big Christian?
They're going to be out of a job soon, it looks like. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what's going on with this guy that he feels the need to go on.
Now, I want to say, it's not all Christians. But one thing that I do know is that the Bible does defend slavery. That's what I gotta say.
onto Instagram and defend overseas slavery, but I can't imagine this sort of path is one you find yourself at the end of in a very good spot. Now, for some context, real quick, if you didn't understand my super clever joke at the beginning, Whistlin' Diesel loves Dubai. Might just be his favorite place. Why is that? I mean, I don't know, I couldn't tell you. Probably not, because it's a city where wealth is sort of the defining factor when it comes to cultural and social acceptance, rather than, you know, like your character or anything. Can't imagine why Cody, of all people, would like a city where, more so than I think anywhere else in the world, you can just throw money at people and have them pretend that they like you. But Cody seemingly loves it there. He talks highly about it constantly, is always doting about how great Dubai is, and Cody is the kind of person who seems like he doesn't really like to be wrong. So naturally, when somebody, especially somebody with a large platform on the internet, talks negatively about Dubai, you best believe that Cody's going to come running to Dubai's defense. And that's exactly what happened with a recent video that a YouTuber named Ben of the Week made. He made a video where he went to Dubai with the intention of sort of exposing the side of Dubai that social media doesn't really show you. The extreme wealth disparities, entire economies being held up by forced labor, and just
also remember that, you know, in case he doesn't go over, I just want to go ahead and slide this in there. The reason for what's going on in Sudan right now is because of Dubai. Yeah, if you've seen what's going on in Sudan, understand that the RSF is being funded by Dubai, but that's a different topic. I just want to push that in there.
all of the horrific things that I'm sure you've heard about Dubai in passing. If you've never heard about those things, I'd really recommend you go give that video a watch. Even if you have heard about them, I'd still recommend you go watch it. But in that video, Ben talks about a very prominent issue in Dubai, where people from other countries go to Dubai to work, usually kind of under false pretenses. They're exposed to horrible living conditions, their passports are taken away, and when all is said and done, they are essentially enslaved. They're working terrible hours in terrible conditions, and they don't really have an option to quit because they can't leave. It's a terrible issue. It's not something that just happens in Dubai either, but obviously this video was about Dubai, and it's something that you would think nobody with a clear moral conscience could support, right? And yes, you'd be right. Unfortunately, it does not seem like Cody has one of those though, because in response to this, he left a lengthy comment on Ben of the Week's video defending this system. And not only did he leave the comment, he took a screenshot of it and posted it onto his Instagram story for validation. My God, the sadness inside this guy must be inconceivable. It's a lengthy comment, but it's worth going through the entire thing. So here we go. Please subscribe. If you did actual research instead of
I could have just waited a few more minutes.
vaguely interpreting things and gaslighting everyone with insulting comments, you'd realize those migrants are making much more money than they made in their home country, with free housing included, all without the risk of getting shot, stolen from, or stabbed. Your lack of actual knowledge and research is obvious to anyone who knows Dubai. Do you go into Disneyland and call the people who keep the place running slaves too? He then comments on a specific case that Ben brought up where a model was found like 10 days after a party, bloodied and beaten on the side of the road. In his comment, he says that she was not being trafficked and the people that attacked her were her own race, Russian, which according to the model is true, but Dubai officials, the people who investigated this, said that this woman who was found 10 days after a party, bloodied and beaten with broken bones, fell from a great distance. So while she may be saying it's Russians, the people who are investigating this said that she fell somewhere. So, still maybe not the best example in defense of Dubai. Corrupt police, however, are not really the focus of what we're talking about today, so we continue. Wealth inequality has been a thing for ages because that's human nature. Even you yourself said it, the labor camps had the most culture because that's how they were living in their home country. If you went to an actual third world country full of bad leaders, you wouldn't make it home to upload this video. The added wealth in one location has simply made you compare the ends of the spectrum. You didn't make one observation about the lack of crime in Dubai, how you can leave the keys in your car or your door unlocked, culture yourself. So there is just an unbelievable amount of things wrong with this comment. We'll start from the top. So the idea that taking somebody's passport away and forcing them to work horrific hours in horrific conditions is okay because they're making more money than they would back home is insane. And also, yeah, people who are enslaved have historically always had free housing because they don't get to leave because they're slaves. Is that one that hard to understand, Cody? Doesn't seem like it would be. He then harps on how safe Dubai is. He'll do that a lot. And while it is reportedly true that street crime is relatively rare in Dubai, obviously, like who gets to report that may play a role in how accurate that is, but even with that being said, by many metrics, Dubai is the worst place in the entire world when it comes to white-collar crime. Scams in Dubai are a massive problem, and I find it funny that Cody never brings this up. You have a better chance of falling victim to a scam in Dubai than any other place on the entire planet. What are your thoughts on that, Cody? Anyways, things start to get really wacky with this whole do you go into Disneyland and call the people who keep the place running slaves too? Well, Cody, if they weren't allowed to leave and Disneyland was a labor camp, then yeah, I would. Comparing a fucking Disneyland employee to a person living in a labor camp who cannot leave the country they are in is absolutely fucking insane. brain. And I don't even think that's Cody just like being a stupid person. I think it's him purposefully trying to sort of shift the narrative to suggest that these two things are in any way comparable. Absurd. Then he starts talking about wealth inequality and he says it's always been a thing. And like, yeah, I'm not going to argue against that. But again, this idea that billionaires profiting off of underpaid, essentially forced labor is made okay because wealth inequality has always been a thing is just ridiculous thinking. Then he starts talking about how if you went to a third world country, you wouldn't even make it home. Like, I don't even know where this guy is getting this shit. People go to developing countries every single day and they are absolutely fine. People come to America or go to Dubai and they aren't fine. Like, there is more to whether or not a place is safe than if the country is wealthy. Like, this guy's brain has been rotted by like status and wealth. He thinks it's all that matters. Anyways, after he proudly posted,
I mean, I don't blame him for thinking that, because if you see his YouTube videos, you will understand that all he pretty much does is flaunt wealth in front of us. And the reason I say that is because he will go buy like the most luxurious thing that some people can only dream of, and then just destroys it right in front of everybody. Prime example, right here. I mean, do I need to say more? How many people do you know can afford a freaking robot? Right? And then on top of that, he's just going ahead and just letting the robot do whatever it wants, destroying glass, and then, you know, letting the camera drop and stuff like that. And then he just puts a price tag next to it in red. Yeah, that's only one example. He pretty much got famous off of destroying things that some people can only dream about.
his comment onto Instagram. He couldn't stop there, and he made a follow-up post saying to the people who hate Dubai, why do you lock your car in your house? Why do you look over your shoulder in a bad neighborhood? Why do you not allow your kids to wander the streets? Why do you carry a weapon? A genuine question, because in Dubai you don't have to. So not only is that the straw man to end all straw mans, asking a person why do you hate a country that's built on forced labor and wealth inequality when your country has crime is sort of silly, but also it just sort of ignores what Dubai is all about. Like, Dubai is a city that globally is built on its like status and its appearance. It is a city engineered to look like what you're talking about. There are places like that all over the world where people probably don't feel the need to look over their shoulder. That doesn't make the country that the city is in, or even the city itself, a morally correct or even safe place. Like, really, I'm asking this genuinely, Cody, can you not see past like a more surface level interpretation? Then I see no street crime and I can leave my Ferrari unlocked, therefore this is the greatest place on earth. You probably can't, clearly, but I'm gonna ask anyways. Now, of course, Cody couldn't just leave it there, so he had to come back with one more post saying, quote, so you support slavery? You do realize the people you're referring to have moved to and stay in Dubai willingly because it's a safer country than the places they came from, and they're making 3 times more than what they would have made in their home country, with free housing, by the way. The bad conditions you see are infinitely better than the locations they came from, and the opportunity is tremendous, down to be proved wrong though. So I just want to make it very clear that at this point, Cody is like fully supporting labor camps. This entire time, he hasn't even been like trying to hide it. He's been like, yeah, the conditions are terrible. The people have to work like dogs, but I mean, it's better than dying, I guess. But again, the whole they move there willingly shit, like they don't move there willingly if they move there under false pretenses. I can't knock on your door and be like, oh, mister, I think my dog jumped through your window. Can I come look for him? And then walk in and rob you at gunpoint and be like, oh, but you let me in willingly. It's legal. Like that's not how this shit works, Cody. Also, no, they can't leave. That's like the whole thing that we're talking about here. You can't leave a country that takes your passport away. That's a pretty difficult thing to do, believe it or not. And again, paying somebody more than they would make in their home country does not make exploiting them okay. Like, that seems like a very easy concept to grasp, but I guess it wouldn't be for a person who cares about absolutely nothing on planet Earth than money. If that's your only driving factor, I guess it's easy to understand how you would think that as long as a person's making more money than they could be in a different situation, that effectively barring them from their family and their home country is totally cool. Also, I can't let the free housing thing slide.
Yeah, I just want to go ahead and say that the fast talk, that's not from my point of view. Mine's plain normal. Yeah.
Again, Cody, you're just making yourself sound stupid, but you might just be stupid. Once again, they are living in labor camps. The whole free housing shit is kind of part of the gig for the people who are controlling all of these workers. It's a lot easier to control where a person is and what they do if you know where they are 24/7. Surely you can understand that one, bud. And then he just completely admits that he realizes they're bad conditions. And he's just like, yeah, well, I mean, it could be worse. The lesser of two evils does not mean good. And it especially does not mean just. You'd think these things would be very easy for a person who supposedly did not come from a lot of money to understand, but it does not seem like that is the case. I really just do not understand what is going on with this guy. I don't understand why his team even allows him to have Instagram at this point. You can only go down so many rabbit holes before people stop following you. And I mean, he was already squeezing through a pretty tight one with the whole like, oh, if you don't have a Ferrari, you're poor and useless and you should just work harder. Once you start...
Yeah, I remember that. He also got a huge backlash for that. You know? That's funny.
Spinning off, well, I mean, slavery is like fine if the people who are getting enslaved had it worse beforehand rhetoric. Nobody's following you down that path, buddy. You're playing with fire. Well, guys, what are your thoughts? Like I said, this is a path that I don't really see many people following Cody down. I would say that his saving grace is that the average YouTube viewer is like a YouTube viewer. They don't really care what you're doing on other social medias. You'll get a decent percentage to follow you over usually, but it's not enough to like really kind of dictate how people see you on YouTube. So like most people probably don't even know that he's losing his shit on his Instagram story every other day, but Cody has proven that when things don't go his way on Instagram, he likes to bring it on YouTube, and we saw that with the whole Russian girlfriend girlfriend thing. So that could be bad for him. Cody, just in your best interest, do not make a video defending slavery. That one's not gonna work for you, bud. And that
It
one
never
really might
does.
be the final nail in the coffin. I know that you're probably going to anyways because you have to be right. It's probably scheduled as I make this, but yeah, once you go onto YouTube in front of your entire audience and say, well, you know what, I'm actually down with slavery, you might end up not having a career after that one. Just my 2 cents. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, somebody who has such huge amount of following and has been on YouTube and social media for such long period of time, by now you would assume that he will be used to every single criticism or anything like that, and he wouldn't just go on a full-blown crash out. But seems like no human being is immune to that. Anyways, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you like or hate this video, by all means, knock yourself a dislike or like the video. It helps me out either way. But what helps me out even more is if you subscribe. With that being said, I'll catch you guys up later.